he hugged her and stroked her hair. While they embraced, Princess Malika unexpectedly let out a loud fart. Prince Isa immediately pushed her away and covered his nose, looking furious. Princess Malika, caught off guard, looked scared and stepped back. She was speechless and didn't know what to say. The prince was filled with disappointment. He regretted not forgetting about her after the banquet incident. He considered it a mark of her character and decided he could never marry someone like her. Long ago, in the village of Velinona, there lived a beautiful princess named Malika, daughter of King Azibo and Queen Makena. Princess Malika was admired not just for her looks, but also for her kind heart, known as the joy of her father and the beloved of the people. Her smile could lighten anyone's day. From a young age, Princess Malika befriended Kasim, whose mother was close to Queen Makena. Kasim became like family and eventually moved into the palace after her mother passed away. Despite Kasim not being of royal blood, Princess Malika treated her with utmost kindness, sharing everything and ensuring she was cared for. However, it was clear to everyone that Kasim was not royalty, especially when they walked together in the village. Princess Malika's beauty and warm personality captivated everyone's attention, often overshadowing Kasim. As they grew older, the village men admired Princess Malika, stopping to compliment her wherever she went. While she graciously responded, they barely noticed Kasim's presence. This created jealousy among other village maidens who felt threatened by the princess. One day, something unsettling happened that completely disrupted the princess's routine. A wealthy young man who had recently visited the village and noticed her beauty and charm approached her with a proposal to marry him. Without hesitation, he expressed his admiration and desire. "It's an honor to meet you, princess. Your grace surpasses every other woman. I would be the happiest man if you would consider marrying me," he said. Princess Malika was taken aback. This was the first time she had met him, yet he boldly asked for her hand in marriage. She admired his courage and smiled in response. The young man introduced himself as Iuka from a neighboring village and praised her beauty and humility. "I'm Malika," she replied. He then mentioned how he would like to change her name to Nala. The princess chuckled, acknowledging his flattering words and bravery. Later that evening, as they walked home, Princess Malika asked Kasim for his opinion on Taj. Kasim remarked, "He's brave and knows what he wants. What do you think about his proposal?" The princess smiled and replied, "Let's see how it goes." Taj and Princess Malika were spending more time together, and the princess was starting to develop feelings for Taj. One day, as Princess Malika and Kasim were walking through the village as usual, they were confronted by 4 angry young women. One of them accused Princess Malika of stealing her future husband. Shocked, Princess Malika and Kasim looked around to make sure they were the targets of the accusation. The accuser continued, saying Princess Malika used her charming smile to deceive people, but couldn't fool them. She accused Princess Malika of seducing her intended husband, Taj. Confused, Princess Malika tried to understand and asked who Taj's intended bride was. The other women laughed and pointed out that Taj belonged to the accuser. Princess Malika was taken aback, as Taj had never mentioned any prior commitment to her. Before she could explain herself, the angry woman interrupted, accusing her of taking away young men from others in the village. She threatened that if Taj didn't marry her, she would hold Princess Malika responsible. She blamed Princess Malika for disrupting her relationship with Taj and vowed not to let her get away with it. With that, the women stormed off, leaving Princess Malika bewildered and upset. Kasim was furious. "Why didn't you let me confront that rude girl? Who does she think she is, saying all those awful things to you and even threatening you?" The princess sighed and shook her head at Kasim. Staying calm was the best response we could give. Would you have preferred us to fight with her? Then people would ask why we fought, and we would say it was because of a man. That would have been so embarrassing. I would never fight over a man. Kasim seemed to understand and asked the princess what she planned to do about Taj. The princess replied, "I'm not sure yet. I need to hear his explanation first." The next time Princess Malika met Taj, she looked very unhappy. Yuka was concerned and asked her what was wrong. The princess asked him directly, "Were you planning to marry someone else before you met me?" Taj was surprised by her question but admitted, "I had met another girl earlier and we were talking, but I haven't gone to meet her parents or made any commitments." Princess Malika was furious. "Taj, that's dishonest. If you were talking to another woman, you shouldn't have pursued me. Now, because of you, I was harassed by your other potential wife." Taj was shocked. "What? What happened? Did she hurt you?" The princess interrupted him, saying, "It doesn't matter now. The damage is done. But please respect my decision. I can't continue with you. Go and sort things out with the woman you were talking to." With that, she walked away. Taj stood there, stunned by her words. Did she just break up with him? No, that couldn't be. He was angry and immediately went to confront the other woman. "Igora! Igora, come out here!" Ifora was alone in the house when she heard Taj shouting her name. She came out and was shocked to see Taj standing there, seething with anger. "Igora, how dare you? Who gave you the right to bother Princess Malika?" Igora understood his anger, but couldn't bear to lose him, so she pleaded with him. "Taj, please forgive me. I was just jealous and didn't mean any harm. You stopped visiting me, and I thought it was because of her." Taj wasn't interested in her explanation. "You got what you wanted, didn't you? The princess and I are done." Igora smiled secretly, but her face fell when he continued. "But guess what? It's over between us two. I would never marry someone like you," Taj thundered, walking away. Igora couldn't bear it and chased after him, begging and crying, but Taj didn't look back or return to their village. Heartbroken, Igora blamed Princess Malika and swore never to forgive her. Meanwhile, Princess Malika moved on with her life and caught the eye of Prince Isa from a neighboring village. Initially hesitant, she eventually agreed to a relationship with him. Prince Isa was the heir to his father's throne, and the two were deeply in love, planning their future together. Prince Isa invited Princess Malika to his father's palace, where his friends eagerly awaited to meet her. They were captivated by her beauty and praised her, much to the prince's delight. A royal banquet was arranged, but halfway through, a foul smell filled the room, causing everyone to pause. After confirming it wasn't their imagination, they resumed cautiously. Suddenly, another loud fart erupted, this time from where Princess Malika was seated. Only Prince Isa, his friends, and Princess Malika were in the room, so it was clear it came from her. All eyes turned to her, and her heart raced with embarrassment. She was mortified. The first fart had caught her off guard, but at least it was silent, so no one knew it was her. This second one, however, was impossible to ignore. To make matters worse, it smelled even worse than the first. lingering despite their attempts to ignore it. Prince Isa was also embarrassed. It was his friend's first meeting with his fiancée, and she had just embarrassed herself with loud farts. How had he never noticed this about her before? His friends couldn't stand it and politely left the banquet, leaving the prince and princess in an awkward silence. Angry, Prince Isa confronted her, demanding to know why she had embarrassed him like that in front of his friends without excusing herself. Feeling deeply ashamed, Princess Malika couldn't meet his eyes as she apologized, attributing it to something she ate earlier. She fled the palace in embarrassment, where she encountered the prince's friends, who had left because of her. They laughed awkwardly upon seeing her, which only added to her humiliation. When she returned to her village, Kasim, her confidant, tried to comfort her and learn what had happened. Initially laughing, Kasim grew serious upon realizing the princess wasn't joking. "Princess, are you serious? Why? What's wrong?" Princess Malika started crying and couldn't speak. Kasim felt really sorry for her and hugged her. "It's okay. I'm sure the prince will understand it wasn't your fault and will come around soon." Later, Prince Isa visited Princess Malika to reconcile. She still felt ashamed and kept apologizing, but the prince reassured her that everything was fine and he wasn't angry anymore. He hugged her and stroked her hair. While they embraced, Princess Malika unexpectedly let out a loud fart. Prince Isa immediately pushed her away and covered his nose, looking furious. Princess Malika, caught off guard, looked scared and stepped back. She was speechless and didn't know what to say. The prince was filled with disappointment. He regretted not forgetting about her after the banquet incident. He considered it a mark of her character and decided he could never marry someone like her. He exhaled heavily and walked away from Princess Malika. She tried to follow him to plead, but he warned her never to come near him again. Princess Malika was devastated. How could this happen? She prided herself on being well-mannered and not prone to public embarrassment. Why now? Kasim comforted her, advising her not to dwell on it and to see it as a blessing in disguise. Who knows, maybe if you had married Prince Isa, you would have regretted it. What kind of man breaks up with someone he claims to love just because of a loud fart? Kasim suggested they visit an herbalist to find a remedy. They saw the herbalist, who gave Princess Malika herbs to drink and advised her on dietary changes. Following the herbalist's advice at home seemed to improve her condition. Princess Malika returned to her usual routines. She enjoyed taking long walks around the village, greeting villagers with a warm smile. However, something strange began happening. Whenever a man approached her to talk, she would unintentionally let out a loud and extremely unpleasant fart. This happened repeatedly, causing the men to run away covering their noses. Princess Malika realized this only occurred with men, not women. Word quickly spread in the village about the princess's problem. People started mocking her, calling her names like Smelly Fart Princess. Some villagers, especially young women whose relationships had been affected by the princess, were pleased with this news. One woman named Igora, who had lost her fiancé because of the princess, confronted her and cruelly mocked her. Feeling humiliated, Princess Malika hurried home. Meanwhile, King Azibo and Queen Makena were deeply concerned for their daughter. They supported her and helped her adjust her diet in hopes of resolving the issue. Kasim, a close friend of the princess, remained supportive and assured her that things would get better. She comforted Malika, promising that she would find someone who loved her for who she was. Despite the difficulties, Princess Malika appreciated her friend's kindness and encouragement. While all the men in the village ignored and disapproved of the princess, there was one man named Kellen who deeply cared for her. He knew the princess was kind-hearted and believed she deserved support. Kellen approached her and expressed his wish to be friends. During their conversation, the princess accidentally farted loudly and felt embarrassed. She apologized, but Kellen reassured her it was fine and understood her situation. Surprised to find someone who wasn't disgusted by her, they became friends. Kellen supported the princess without making her feel bad. Kasim was pleased to see the princess happy again. "I told you someone would accept you no matter what. There's still hope," Kasim reassured her. Kasim was soon getting married in a week, with King Azibo and Queen Makena acting as her parents. The princess had pledged her support too. One day Kellen took the princess to meet an old woman in a distant village, his grandmother. She was a seer and knew about the princess's situation. She examined the princess's palms and shook her head sadly after seeing a dark cloud on her right palm. This indicated that someone close had cursed her, not a distant enemy. Though confused, Kellen and the princess were told not to worry, as the truth would soon be revealed. The seer instructed the princess to go to the river of justice for healing. She was to wear a white wrapper and immerse herself 7 times. If innocent, the river would heal her and return the curse to the evildoer with double consequences. The princess and Kellen thanked his grandmother and then left. They quickly got white clothes, and the princess went to the river to do what she was told. When she came back to meet Kellen, who was waiting at a distance, she looked at him hopefully. He held her and assured her that everything was arranged. They returned to the palace and met Kasim with her future husband. The wedding was scheduled for the next day, and the young man had come to ensure everything was ready. Kellen and the princess greeted them and wished them well in their journey of love. During their conversation, a bad smell filled the air, and they all looked at the embarrassed princess. She apologized and started to leave, but suddenly another loud fart came from Kasim's side. They were all surprised and looked at Kasim, who was also shocked and puzzled. Before anyone could react, Kasim released a long series of loud, terrible farts that smelled awful. Everyone covered their noses and stepped back. Even Kasim couldn't stand the smell and covered her nose too. Everyone was shocked and disgusted, looking at Kasim accusingly. In a panic, Kasim pointed at Princess Malika. "What did you do? You were the one who usually fed." Remembering his grandmother's warning about an enemy within, Kellen immediately demanded that Kasim confess or face consequences. Kasim tried to deny knowing what Kellen meant, but her uncontrollable farting made it impossible to hide anything, so she confessed. "It's the work of jealousy. Please, I didn't mean to. Since childhood, I've envied the princess because she always gets all the attention. I've suppressed my jealousy all these years, but when she took the prince from me, I couldn't bear it anymore." Princess Malika was surprised. "Prince? Which prince?" Kasim explained further. "I saw Prince Isa before you. He smiled at me and was about to talk to me when you suddenly appeared, and then he became interested in you. I was angry that you took him away from me, so I sought help from a powerful native doctor to curse you with something that would scare away all men from you permanently. I don't know how you managed to heal from it. I'm deeply sorry. My jealousy got the best of me." Kellen comforted Princess Malika, who was in tears. The The man who was supposed to marry Kasim reacted with disgust. "I didn't know you could be so cruel. I'm thankful to have been spared from your deceit. I never want to see you again." With that, he left angrily. Kasim begged for forgiveness from him, but he refused. She then turned to Princess Malika to apologize, but Kellen intervened, leading the princess away. When the king learned of the incident, he was furious and blamed himself for trusting someone who turned out to be so malicious. He expelled Kasim from the palace and banished her from the village. Kasim's curse was severe. She emitted foul-smelling gas whenever she was near anyone, making it impossible for her to live with others. She wandered endlessly as a result. Princess Malika and Kellen fell in love and eventually married. Their union was blessed by the king and queen, and they lived happily together. Today, I want to discuss the destructive power of jealousy. This spirit can possess anyone at any time, but it only gains power if we allow it to. Once it takes hold, jealousy can drive a person to commit terrible acts that lead to their own downfall. Remember, nothing remains hidden forever, and we will reap what we sow. If you sense jealousy in yourself, reject it immediately before it destroys you. Be patient and trust that good things will come to you if you have a pure heart, just as they did for others.